Yes.
Doji. I always call it Doggy Coin, but it's Doge Day. So there you go.
Today we travel to the moon.
This world has gone to shit. I'm telling you. Like, literally,
I'm on it.
A dog coin has just taken over the world. I was watching it this weekend because I'm the dumbass who says, I should have invested, and then I didn't. And I'm watching it just soar up. Now Matt's like a stockholder over here telling me, to invest in everything. But tomorrow is Doge Day. Okay, well, now we know.
To the moon.
There's no after
to
this,
the moon.
But after this weekend, there's really no rules. Like, I think we've come to the conclusion that when it comes to fighting and covering the sport, that there's just no rules. Nothing exists.
Yeah.
The fact that we're even going to spend any amount of time covering Jake Paul and Ben Askren, which of course we have to, while there was real fights that were happening with Kevin Gastelum and Whittaker. There's no rules, Mike. Nothing matters.
No. I mean, I fell for it. I watched it. We paid for it.
You paid for it?
We paid for it.
No!
I didn't want to lose the stream.
I refused. I streamed it. I
didn't want to lose
it. I refused.
I streamed illegally.
Yeah.
After I noticed that Doja Cat was in a 45-minute performance, just like, what is life? What is happening?
I don't know, man.
I can't believe Justin Bieber even stooped to that level.
I was kind of surprised about that.
I'm not.
No?
I'm not surprised with anything anymore.
I
truly, What will surprise you nowadays?
Well, and the thing is, too, is Pete Davidson was just shitting on everyone. That was the best part about it.
The slap fight was the best part of the whole thing.
The slap fight was decent.
Yeah.
I look at it and it's like, man, there's your future of boxing. Like, there's your future of boxing.
Boxing is a joke now. I mean, they're making it into a joke by doing stuff like 100%. This.
Maz had posted something or replied on a Twitter on the Woodward page and said something like, boxing has turned into WWE. And I mean, when I watched that Triller event, I thought to myself, could they get any worse when it comes to commentary? Mike, you and I were talking about this. You had Oscar De La Hoya, who was coked out of his
that guy is
mind.
Gone.
He is
gone.
Blitzed out of his mind.
What about the 95-year-old referee?
And then Al Berman was there.
Around the
Snoop
ring.
Dogg was like telling people,
"Give me my money, Jake. Give me my money, Jake. Give me my money."
It was just. And Alex, if you want to pull up the KO, we'll talk about it, and then we have to move on to covering the actual sport of mixed martial arts and boxing. I mean, is this a fall? To me, it seemed like that's a fall.
Him. It was a knockdown. It wasn't a knockout. It was a knockdown.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel as though...
I mean, Askren jumped right back up.
Ben Askren could have continued.
For sure.
But he's a little wobbly there. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah. He was
Ben walks around wobbly naturally.
Yeah, he does.
What are you talking about?
But I mean, whoosh.
Yeah, I mean,
Jeez.
He was definitely he was wobbly. Even if they kept it going right there, I think he was going down.
It happened in the first round.
Yeah.
And,
look at that referee, though.
Come on.
That's my great-grandpa.
Yeah, what is that? He's still
bro.
wobbling after, though, even talking to the ref. I mean, and then there's always those people who are like, did he take a dive? Did he not take a dive? I mean, regardless, I don't think he cared.
He got paid $500K to take a punch.
He was laughing on the way out of the stadium.
Yeah, he went in there to get punched.
And we have that footage as well, if you could find it, Alex, of just him and his wife holding each other, and he's got the last laugh. I mean, look at him. He's like, we did it, babe.
Yep.
$500K in the bank to take a punch from a YouTuber.
right there.
Pull out the red panties.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you guys, would you, for $500K, you would definitely get knocked out by Jake Paul, right?
100%.
Oh, my God, yes.
I'd do it for 20.
Oh, my God, yes.
I mean, it's just...
$20?
Not $20. Speaking of which, Matt, you don't know this, but we're upping the ante. We have so much to cover, but we're going to be upping our ante when it comes to making our picks, because let's talk about the real action that happened this weekend with the Whittaker and Gastelum. A phenomenal performance. I mean, I think we kind of all expected Whittaker to do great. I didn't expect him to do that great against...
So sharp.
Just the kicks, the punches, even in the first round... and you know what's crazy is that we can talk about this sport, but we can't post videos, but we can post videos of Jake Paul. That's why boxing, that's why they had $1.3, $1.5 million pay-per-view guys, because you could talk about it, but heaven forbid you actually post footage from the Whittaker-Gastelum fight. But what did you guys gather the most out of that? That Whittaker obviously is still a true contender, but where does this leave both Whittaker and Gastelum?
For me, I thought Whittaker was extremely sharp. I couldn't have been more impressed. Just his combinations, low kick setting up the high kick setting up the low kick, his variations, things like that. And the thing, too, is a lot of people may not realize that Kevin Gastelum is no schlub. He is a great fighter. That was a great test for Whittaker again. Yep. And I think the only move is to go face Izzy. And
you're right, but I don't think they'll let him. I think they'll make him fight Vettori first.
Ugh. You think so?
Yeah,
God.
I do, because it went so poorly for him the first time he fought Izzy.
Yeah.
I know, but he doesn't. But
I agree.
And Izzy doesn't need that fight right now. It's unfortunate, but I mean, I think he needs to prove himself a little more. He shouldn't.
No, what are you talking about?
What am I talking about? I'm talking about people are going. Art is the guy who gets pissed that Jorge Masvidal gets a rematch.
Well, yeah.
But now he wants Whittaker to have a rematch.
Well, yeah, because Jorge Masvidal didn't beat Yoel Romero twice. The only loss that Whittaker has recently is to the fucking champion.
Yeah.
He beat Till. He beat Gastelum. I mean, Vettori needs to face Gastelum, in my opinion. Put Vettori and Gastelum together. Let Whittaker get his rematch.
Gastelum is what we thought he was. I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
His cardio was fantastic. He's tough as hell.
His cardio was great.
Yeah,
oh
but
my
when
gosh,
you're a
he was
punching bag, I mean, that doesn't mean shit. To me, Vettori does not deserve a rematch against...
Gastelum was still pressing at the end of that fight. Even though he was getting the shit beat out of him, he was still on attack mode.
But I think that's just stupidity. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, Gastelum was getting his ass
But
whooped
Whittaker
for 5
looked
rounds.
tired, and he couldn't finish him. It's not like he wasn't not trying to finish him, and he couldn't.
But what
That's
does it
how
say
tough
about Gastelum, though, when
he's tough as hell?
Yeah, but when Israel Adesanya couldn't finish Gastelum. I mean,
Gastelum gave Izzy a better fight than Whittaker did.
Well, hasn't Whittaker's past 3 all been decisions too?
Yeah, and that's the thing that
They're all
Gastelum or Whittaker needs a finish to really. If he would have finished Gastelum, we'd be saying the man deserves a title match. Like
no doubt. He does deserve it, no doubt.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that he deserves it. I just don't think they're going to give it to him right away.
I will give you your props and say that Whittaker looked okay. You know, he put on a performance against Gastelum. Gastelum was on a skid before his last victory. You know, I mean, really, when you think about it, this division's kind of stuck in the mud right now because you don't know what's going to happen next. Like, Vettori definitely does not deserve the fucking rematch, but neither does someone like Darren Till. Like, if Vettori and Darren Till would have fought each other and either Till or Vettori would have won, Till has this like the UFC.
I think the UFC would have lifted Till up to the title shot
because there's not another UK star like there was Bisping. You know, I read something the other day that was like Darren Till is okay, but he's not really like spectacular. Like in the middleweight division right now, there's nobody that's really like sticking out that like you deserve a shot against Izzy.
No, and Till's out of the equation for a little while. I think he's got a broken collarbone. So we're not going to be talking about him for a little while.
Were they saying Vettori and Costa, or did I dream that?
I did hear talk about
that.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I want to see Vettori in anyone that can punch.
There's something about Vettori that I just can't stand.
I can't stand him either. I'm with you on that, Art.
He's so cringy. And to me, he doesn't have like a huge record of like, okay, you beat Costa. Okay, you beat Whittaker.
Oh, yeah, no,
like,
for sure.
That Kevin Holland fight didn't show me anything.
Nothing.
I thought he was garbage in that fight. I mean,
and to me,
he just ran the same playbook
that Brunson did.
ran.
But to me, he should have been able, if he's such a mythical creature in this division, he should have put away Kevin Holland.
He should have.
Yeah,
he didn't. No,
and it doesn't prove to me how tough Kevin Holland is because he's just a punching bag at this point.
That's why I'd love to see Whittaker go in there and destroy Vettori.
You know what?
I would love that too.
I will. Yeah.
How he came out and he was like, I don't even think Whittaker wants the title shot. I don't think like. And that's just how Whittaker is. He's honestly one of my.
He's so nonchalant.
He's so nonchalant, and that's why he's one of my favorite fighters.
He's
in the
a gentleman.
UFC. Yeah, he's just like, nah, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Is he the most likable fighter in UFC
I
history?
love him.
He's super likable.
I love him.
There was. I read a lot of Reddit threads and I read a lot of YouTube comments. I cannot find a single person who does not like Whittaker.
How do you not? Like, even when Izzy was talking shit to him and then they put up the quote, he's like, what do you think about that? He's like, or it was like, see you soon, my son. He's like, he's like, he beat me.
Yeah,
he's
good
like,
job, my son.
Yeah, he's like, he beat me. What am I supposed to say? And that's the truth. That's how, like, I think more people should be like that. He beat me. He can talk shit. I got to get to work, and I got to beat him, and then I can talk shit.
Whittaker's 23-5. I mean,
Dude,
the man has been in the octagon for so long, and I mean, he beat Cannonier, he beat Darren Till, Yoel Romero twice, Jacare Souza, Derek Brunson, Uriah Hall, Brad Tavares. Like, he's beaten the who's who,
and he's only 30.
And he's only 30. Like,
Wow.
I think when you look at this division,
I didn't even know that.
when you look at this division, and then we'll move on to the other fights on the card. But when you look at this middleweight division, it really, there's not a clear-cut sign as to who should face Israel Adesanya.
People keep sleeping on Stephen Thompson. I'm telling you, he'd be the interesting person to put in there.
Yeah.
What's he ranked right now? Is he 4?
I think he's 4th or 5th.
I don't know what his ranking is.
But here's the thing, like, there's I mean, Wonder
he's
Boy,
the guy everyone we wouldn't even bring him up, right? I mean,
he's
true.
And he looked so sharp in his last fight, like he could beat anyone.
Yeah, but I think
Izzy's a different animal, right?
Dude,
but
I think what it comes down to too is marketing, and you can't really market Wonder Boy other than saying he's a really nice guy. And that's like like with Whittaker, you could book that match because there's it already happened.
Yep.
Vittori, I think he needs to fight either Acosta or Darren Till, or taking that Kevin Holland fight. I'll give him props. He could have said no.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was a risk. It really was. Like Kevin Holland was 5-0 in 2020. He's 0-2 so far in 2021. But like, really, there's not a clear-cut person that should face Izzy. Izzy's 20-1. And I don't think that his stock decreased at all by losing to Blachowicz, in my opinion. Like, absolutely not. But I just don't see anyone who's going to beat him in his own division. And light heavyweight, of course. Like, there's a huge weight discrepancy. But
I'm not even seeing Stephen Thompson in the rankings.
No, I think it's Stephen Thompson fights at not light heavyweight, not middleweight, at welterweight.
Oh no, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but I mean, he can move up.
Yeah.
He's lengthy. I mean, I think he would have a hard time against someone like Israel Adesanya, but everybody would. It's such a weird division right now, and it's kind of stuck in the mud in the sense that Izzy should be able to call out who he wants to fight next. I think he'll probably take the Whittaker fight because it's the easiest route, and you've already beat him before.
It's both those. It's like a rematch against Costa, though. It was so ugly the first time they fought.
Yeah.
You don't want to see Costa jump in there against him again.
Vittori and Gastelum.
If you remember that last Whittaker fight, then that's why I think people are.
I would like to see Costa again, not necessarily against Izzy, but where's he been?
He's been drinking wine and complaining about hangovers.
Is he okay? Like, I don't know.
He needs to get a fight. They need to book him a fight or cut him or something.
Yeah,
I mean,
something.
Just because.
But the guy's 19-1.
I mean, you don't want to cut him. I'm kidding. But
I mean, you got to give him somebody. Put him up against Vittori. I'd watch that fight.
That would be
I'd
awesome.
watch that fight.
Yeah.
Moving on, Andre Arlovski pulling off the upset against Chase Sherman in the co-headline for UFC on ESPN 22.
I needed it.
I did not expect that at all. I was
the Vanilla Gorilla I thought was going to be fine, and he was chasing him around. I know.
Andre
Do you realize
Arlovski.
Andre Arlovski has 20 losses in the UFC? He was 19-20 in the UFC before that fight. Now he's 20-20.
Really?
He's
in
got
the
a
UFC.
500 record.
In the UFC. I mean, yeah.
And it kind of just shows you the lack
He fought
of...
in UFC 21.
That's insane.
Isn't it?
But it kind of shows you the lack of depth with the heavyweight division in the UFC when you have people like Andre Arlovski still fighting. I mean, sure, they cut JDS, they cut Overeem, which that to me was shocking, cutting Overeem. I would have picked Andre Arlovski to get cut next. But a decision win, to me, Chase Sherman was out of the UFC for a little bit, did the bare knuckle thing, which I loved because I'm a bare knuckle fanboy. Andre Arlovski isn't going to get like a top contender off of this. He'll probably get another, maybe a Ben Rothwell, like maybe, I don't know. To me, with Stevens and Dakar not fighting, that was devastating.
Oh, that was
and
gonna
that shove. It proves, we'll talk about that in a minute. But Andre Arlovski, Chase Sherman, it was a meh fight. It's okay.
Neither one of those guys belong.
Neither looked that great.
No.
Like, I think Arlovski
And he
just had more.
outpointed him.
Yeah, he just had more experience.
Yeah, it wasn't like he completely beat the shit out of him. It was just
he just kicked his front leg and then started moving.
Yep.
And then once he couldn't, Sherman couldn't chase him around.
And that leg it was still there the whole fight. And I was like, what are you doing? Keep going after that leg.
Yeah.
Arlovski, that shows it.
Yeah, it was definitely kind of just like a meh. That was a decision win, and especially in that division, the heavyweight division, like you want the knockouts, you want the crazy, finishes and everything like that, and it didn't happen. And it was okay.
There are guys in the top of that division that are exciting though.
And Andre Arlovski and Chase Sherman are neither of them.
And there's guys coming up like Tom Aspinall, I think.
Tom Aspinall, Chris
I'd like
Daukaus.
to see him against Cyril Gane.
Oh man, you're throwing him right to the wolves.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Why not?
You got to keep a little bit of the division together like that. That to me would be a fight where it's like, man, once that happens, if either fighter loses, you just lost a top prospect. It'd be a good fight night.
With that fight too, the betting line was really interesting because it started at minus like 140 or something when I took it.
Yeah.
And then it literally, when the fight started, it struck to like plus 115.
It was a pick'em fight.
Yeah, for like Orlovsky.
Which was crazy because like when I had a free bet that I could use, and so all of my picks I think failed. I didn't pick Pena. I didn't pick. Like I'm looking at the list right here, and it's the fight game.
Yeah.
Like you never know what's gonna happen, and nothing surprises me anymore.
Oh yeah.
So when Andre Arlovsky ended up winning by decision, I'm like, eh. When Stevens and Dakar ended up getting canceled because of a shove, I was like, eh. Like it literally the
that
fight
was the
card,
fight that I wanted.
I know.
Same here.
The fight card starts. And then it's just like, nope, hey, we've got an announcement to make. Your co-main is canceled. Yeah. Now, obviously, that shove, although it didn't look like much, I don't know if you've had whiplash or a concussion before. This, thing that's on top of your, that's known as your head.
Well, when you're not expecting to get jacked, and some guy throws both hands,
and he was just standing there with his hands behind his back. Now, to me, Stevens should be fined. When you injure somebody during a weigh-in,
there should be some penalty.
Sure. Yeah. Connor's done it before. Nate's done it before. You've seen all these fighters that push and shove. If you don't injure them, fine. That creates good, content, and it builds the fight. But when you injure your opponent before you even step into the octagon, I'm not saying you should be cut, but you should lose 40% of your purse, 50% of your purse.
That's what they said, though, was whiplash?
Yeah, they said that Dakar, the reason why the fight was canceled was because when he got shoved, his hands went numb automatically.
Sounds like a pinched nerve or something as well.
It was like a spinal. It was in his neck.
That's what I was going to say. If you pinch a nerve in your neck or anything like that, you can't twist it to the side. And then imagine
having to fight the next day.
It's a bullshit move to do something to somebody that doesn't expect to get hit.
Stevens become unlikable, too.
It's cheap.
I mean, as if Connor didn't already do him in with the who the fuck is that guy? Like, he's become quite unlikable. Like, he's the alpha wannabe douchebag that you went to high school with that shoves the kid in the locker room. Like, from behind. So it's hopefully they book that, ASAP. I could see them putting it, obviously not on 261, but, maybe a fight night coming up. I think having it as a co-main is a perfect slot for it because that is an interesting fight at 155.
That was my pick of the day, too.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Moving on to Malkoun versus Alsan. I'm sorry. That was, again, another pick to where I could have, if somebody had 10 grand and was like, hey, what fight are you putting it on? I'm putting it on Abdul. And then literally just comes in and got wristlefucked for 3 rounds.
That was one where we said you didn't know what you had in Malkoun. He'd had one UFC fight. Yeah. He got knocked out in 18 seconds. Yeah. With somebody like how do you know? He's only had 6 pro fights leading into that. So he turned out he's a decent. I mean, he looked all right.
Oh, he was a grappler.
He knew what to do.
Yeah.
He especially after getting knocked out in 18 seconds to have that game plan and to execute it the way he did, that was impressive.
Yeah. I was actually I was pretty impressed. And now he's 5-1.
I was bummed, but
sort of almost like a rookie record. Like you're 5-1 and you're in the UFC. Like but it's that type of technique that will create longevity. I mean, look at what Habib did. It's not necessily, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right.
It wasn't laying.
If you're going to get knocked out, it might as well be in 18 seconds.
Yeah. And that was against Phil Haas, which he's a prospect in the UFC, but I was very surprised with a number of these fights, including that one right there. Abdul should have gotten it done. I was picturing like a first, second round knockout, pretty, getting him out of there fairly easily considering who he was facing. But I mean, good for Malkoun. I think that, with a fight like that, when you do those Habib type tactics, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. In this case, it definitely worked for him. So
Al Hassan had no answer.
That's why I don't like betting on fights like that where you don't know what you have in that one fight.
I will say, Mike, like as much as you and I go back and forth, like when it comes to betting and predictions, everyone knows that I'm shit. Like, but there was a certain amount of I was like, holy shit, I'm kind of impressed. Like, you look at records. I base my picks off of records and based off of, even as something as little as stances, or what type of fighter are you? You deep dive into it and you're like, no, the guy's 4-1. I mean, we don't know a whole lot about him. I think you even said if you're going to skip one, you said to skip
away,
that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think Al Hassan was the heaviest favorite of the night.
He was.
On the betting.
Yeah, it was like a minus 340 or something.
Yeah.
I was telling Art too, for every card I'll do like a 5-fight parlay or something like that, and of course go 4-1. The one that lost
That was it.
Oh, no.
Arlovsky, you had Arlovsky. Yeah.
Yeah, I had Arlovsky.
Yeah. You had Arlovsky. You had...
And then I had Whittaker decision, too. I put that in the parlay. So it was a good-looking parlay, too. And then, of course, the heaviest... And that was one, too, like, right with, like, the first round, I was like...
Yeah.
God, this one's over.
Yeah.
Like, it was one that I just felt,
and that's what sucks because then you're like, wow, I've got another 14 minutes to sit here and watch this happen and watch my bets go down the shit.
Yeah, it was just one of those where you just kind of knew.
Yeah. Let's move on to Cortez and Kish. That was kind of a split decision. I don't know if I agree with that. I thought that, there was parts of the fight where Justine showed promising, future, but Tracy Cortez just has that look in her eyes. Like, I would hate to be locked in a bathroom with that woman. Like, she looks terrifying. Yeah. The second that bell goes off, she means business, and she got the decision win, a split decision victory. She's got a great record, much needed for that division and women's MMA in general. What did you guys think of the fight?
I think it was going on like right in the heat of one of the YouTuber performances on the other TV. So let's say I glanced over at it a couple times.
Is that you? I don't like my women fighting.
No. Normally, I know Tracy Cortez. She definitely has skill. She's up and coming. I think
it was a boring fight.
It wasn't. It didn't.
The best in the world, but. I do think, in some ways, she did impress me. Her ground game, I thought, was very good.
I wouldn't sleep on either of these girls.
Yeah, and I thought her ground and pound as well. Her stand-up striking could use a little bit.
Yeah.
But, again, Kish is a well-polished fighter. She's good. She's a good opponent. But, I thought Cortez was pretty impressive. Not the most exciting fight in the world, like you said.
No, right? it was kind of a dull fight on the main card. I understand.
Well, was it a replacement fight though?
Yes.
It wasn't originally on the main card.
Yeah,
and I don't think it belonged on them. But
no,
I mean, you had what you had.
And especially not that high up.
And I think Cortez was a heavy favorite as well.
Oh yeah, super heavy favorite. Yeah. All right, moving on to Luis Pena against Alex Munoz. That was an interesting fight. I'm not going to lie. I had Munoz winning the fight.
As did I.
I really did.
As did I.
Pena turned it up in the third round. I feel like if he would have had that energy in the first and second, I would have no problem giving him the decision. Munoz, he was the much shorter fighter, used his wrestling a lot.
A good job.
Multiple takedowns, too.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, Pena gets it, and I'm like, holy shit, I really was not going that way at all.
No, and like I said, I had Pena in my parlay, and I thought it was busted. I mean, I had him, and I thought he lost.
Yeah. But the judges it seems like they're looking more and more at how the fight finishes.
Yeah.
And his approach in the third round was the better approach.
I agree.
I liked his approach, actually, in the whole if it was a 5-round fight, it might have looked a lot different, but I liked Pena's approach, and I don't know.
Do you think Pena won the fight?
That's the kind of fight where I wish we just had draw where they like why not just say it's a
draws
damn
need
draw?
to be more acceptable in the UFC too.
It wouldn't have bothered me at all.
I mean, they do it for Moreno and Figueiredo. Why can't they do it for something like this?
I know, one of the best fights of the year. And
and I still think Brandon won that fight, but we'll see again.
But these guys are both good lightweights, and
they really are. Pena's so long for that division.
So long.
And he had said afterwards, he's like, "Hey, Kevin Holland, if you want some long wrestling, I can help you out." And it's like, I don't think you can, man. You got taken down fairly easily. Sure, he got right back up. It wasn't a Holland situation where it was, he laid there and didn't do anything. But Pena's now, I think, 9-3. Munoz, I still feel as a future.
6-2. Yeah, he definitely has a future. He showed he could take shots.
Yeah.
I mean, he hung. It was a great fight.
Yeah,
it was.
Like that's why you hated to see one person lose.
Yeah,
but somebody had to, and split decision's a split decision.
Yep. So that covers the card for UFC on ESPN 22. Coming up, we've got a doozy, and Matt, I don't think we talked to Matt about this, but when we do our picks this coming up Friday. We're obviously going to do the main card. So it's starting from the bottom all the way up. Anthony Smith and Jimmy Crute, that's going to be an amazing fight. Chris Weidman, Uriah Hall, that's a rematch fight. And then, of course, 3 championship fights. You've got Valentina Shevchenko against Jessica Andrade, Weili against Namajunas, and then Usman versus Masvidal 2. This is definitely on paper one of the most stacked UFCs that has been put together in quite some time, honestly. I mean, when you look at, Shevchenko and Andrade, that alone could headline a pay-per-view, but then you've got Weili and Thug Rose, and then Usman and the foot stomper known as Usman and Masvidal 2. here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch things up a little bit because, we could all sit here and make picks and, oh, you got that right. Oh, Mike's correct again. Cool. Let's do a podcast about it. I'm so sick of that shit. So we're going to spice things up. Here's what we're going to do. On Fridays, we're going to make our picks. We're going to do the podcast, and we're going to also do the betting video. Mike, I know in your closet of hot sauces, you have a large array of different hot sauces.
I do.
So what we're going to do is, and you've got a 1 out of 3 chance, okay? This is why I'm doing this. If it was just like me and Mike straight up or me and Matt straight up, I'd say, fuck no, you guys are going to beat me hands down on the worst betting picker ever.
You're playing like you're the dealer in blackjack here?
Yeah. I mean, it's a 1 out of 3 chance. Something's got to give. As Monday comes and I end up doing a shot of hot sauce. But that's what we're going to do.
Man.
There's chips at Birmingham Roast. We'll put it on a chip, and you've got to do the hot sauce challenge if you lose. So you only have to be in the bottom third. Okay, so there's a chance. Now I'm going up against Detroit Sports.
Are we going to do the whole main card?
5 picks, okay, and that's it.
Right.
So 5 picks. If there's a draw, you live to
we could have a tiebreaker that's a favorite from the
Can
undercard.
we please not do that? I would be happy with a draw. Well,
No, why don't we just do a tiebreaker?
Yeah,
everybody picks one fight from the undercard.
Okay.
If you get your undercard pick right, and that's the tiebreaker.
Okay. I'll go with that. So we're gonna do 6 picks this Friday.
Okay.
You guys will each be able to pick a fight on the prelims. We'll all pick one fight. It doesn't have to be the same one. I'll probably go with Randy Brown and Cowboy. That'll be my pick because I'm familiar with those fighters. But you do that, and then the 5. If you get them all right, you're a genius. If you end up sucking, then you have to do a chip challenge with the hot sauce. Which I'll tell you, Mike, you've got the bomb sauce, which is
I got zombie apocalypse.
Is the bomb the one from
the bomb is the one that's the knockout punch on Hot Ones.
My roommate was trying to get me to try that. I was like, no.
It's so bad, and we're gonna do it live on the podcast.
I got a feeling it's gonna be me. I got a sick feeling.
I hope it's you. I hope it's you because I don't want it to be me, man. I don't want it to be me at all.
I'm gonna be real careful with these picks.
I know. No, I'm actually gonna try. But we're gonna be covering UFC 261.
Because I want to throw a flyer at Masvidal.
I already feel like I know I'm gonna be what I'm looking at. I'm gonna be different than you guys. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I think
you guys are going Namajunas.
We'll talk about it on Friday. We'll talk about it on Friday. But here's the deal. We have that dartboard still because no one picked it. So we'll give you more details on Friday on how you can win the dartboard as well as some Monster Energy prizes. And if you're going to be making
got good
picks,
Monster prizes too.
Yeah. If you're going to be making picks, make sure that you visit my bookie. Use the promo code Woodward. They've got a great promotion going on right now with Usman and Masvidal, to where if you pick Masvidal and you throw $100 at him, you can win $300 back. Which is pretty, out of all those, that's kind of the sketchiest one, let's be honest. Foot stomps galore is going to win the title fight, I think. But
Masvidal has like a 10% chance.
I'd say 5. It's
say 0.
But then again, it is a longer camp,
I know. Fight game. I'm just kidding. Yeah. I know.
But so that wraps up the Art of Combat podcast. We'll be back on Friday. Big shout out to Serenity CBD as well. Make sure that you use that promo code WSN15 for 15% off of your order. Guys, I'm excited for this card. We're 5 days away. We'll get our picks in order, and make sure that you follow at Art of Combat Pod. Thank you to Alex. Thank you to Fish. Thank you to Adam. And we will see you on Friday right here on Woodward Sports.